Welcome back, Batty Rewrite. We're excited to be here with our guest today. Amber, tell them who she is.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited. We have our first guest ever.
Yes, high five.
Alivia Bierley, MMA fighter. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm honestly super pumped, and I'm honored that I get to be the first.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So when Guylan introduced you to us, amazing, incredible story that comes with you. And we just want our viewers to hear all about your story because it's like, you're gorgeous, by the way, in case the viewers didn't see that already. Super gorgeous, super, all of those things, right? And we talk about, does pretty pay in our past episode, right? And so we talk about the tax of being pretty also, but also being beautiful kind of attracts an interesting people that are not always the people we want to attract, right? So tell us a little bit about what got you into MMA and this exciting path that you're on now.
Absolutely. Well, honestly, I always say that I didn't find MMA, that MMA found me.
Yes.
And it honestly stemmed from wanting to learn self-defense. Unfortunately, there was a few things that kind of led me to that point. Back in college, I had gone through, I don't know if all women do this, but I went through a series of dating the wrong men.
Oh my gosh, no.
There's probably, no one can relate to that. But, one in particular cheated on me, and so broke up with him, and then he started stalking me.
Oh my gosh.
To the point where he actually physically assaulted me in public, and the people that were watching called the police, and I think I was ashamed and didn't want to make a big deal of it, and I honestly suppressed that. I completely had forgot all about that until fast forward in 2020, during the height of the pandemic. I was living in Chicago at the time, and so I would always wait to go to Walmart super late at night, because back then there was restrictions to where you could only have 50 to 100 people in a Walmart at a time.
Yes.
And so instead of waiting outside for hours and hours and hours, I would just go at 10:30 at night, right before they shut down.
And it's dead.
Yes. And that was my thought process. It's dead.
Right.
You get in, you get your groceries, you go out. So I was there. It was, I don't know, a Tuesday night or something. And I'm there at 10:30. And I kept seeing the same guy. Right. And I don't know, as women, I feel like we have this internal thing that
Instinct.
yes, the equivalent
That
of, when your
intuition.
dog's hair stands up.
Yes.
Yeah. My hair was standing up a little bit, and I kept seeing him. And then I started to test my theory of surely he's not following me. So I was making random patterns in the Walmart, and there enough, he kept being there.
Oh my
and
gosh.
so finally I was like, all right,
Scary.
I'm going to get out of here. Right.
Yeah.
I take my card. I wasn't finished, but I was like, I got enough. Let's just go. And he ends up checking out at the same time I am. Yes.
Same aisle?
Yeah. Not the same one. It was a couple over, but I could see him, and he kept kind of looking
Giving
over
you
at
the
me.
eye, yeah.
Yeah. So then I pretended to forgot something. I even said it out loud. I was like, oh, I think I forgot something. And so I walked back, and he gets out of line too. So at that point in time, I knew that he was following me. That that alarm button was going off. I leave my card. I just start leaving, and he's following me out the Walmart to my car. And there's it's dead. It's dark. I'm in the parking lot, and I'm hurrying to my car. And I just had this idea to FaceTime my dad and act like he was a police officer.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love
Dad,
this.
He's
Oh
not
my
a police officer. But I'm like, Dad, are you still at the police station? This guy's following me. And I'm putting my hand up, and he takes a hard left and gets out of there. So I immediately go to my car, and I'm sitting there white knuckling the steering wheel of my car, just
yes.
I'm gripping my chair as you're telling this story.
Yeah, and it's I'm very fortunate that that's all that happened,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And through telling this story, I've a lot of women have reached out and kind of shared their stories, and not everyone's been as lucky. So I do, very thankful that it wasn't worse than that, but it scared me. And I think at that moment, it resurfaced kind of some of that fear that I had back in college. And I think that fear eventually turned into anger. And it kind of hit me when I was telling somebody about it. And their response, and it was a guy, well, what were you doing out so late? You know better.
Ew.
No.
Yeah. And honestly, my knee-jerk response was kind of yeah, you're right. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like,
Hey, wait a minute here.
that's not okay. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was going to get groceries at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night at Walmart. I should not have to feel, so then
Unsafe.
yeah. So at that point, it started
Going to your local grocery store.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Right. And so it's at that point, it turned into no one is ever going to make me feel that way again. And I deserve to be able to go get groceries
Yes.
if I need to get groceries without having to worry about getting abducted or getting harassed at the store.
Yeah.
And so shortly after that, I started training MMA, and I started working with somebody one-on-one and was paying them to teach me. And then eventually
You actually called a friend of yours, right?
I did. Yeah, I called, and his name is Rocco. So Rocco's the one who kind of was like, hey, I've been learning MMA. He started working with me a little bit, and then was kind of like, all right, you need to work with my coach. And so I started paying for private lessons. And then eventually that coach was like, hey, you probably should come to the gym. We've got some girls your size, sparring days on Saturday. You can kind of see how you compare to, someone else.
Yeah.
And the competitive side of me, I should have known that I was going to fall in love, right? So I show up to practice, and we're sparring, and it was hard.
I'm sure.
And these girls were
Oh my
good.
gosh.
These girls were very good. They were better than me technically.
And let's just go back. So were you an athletic girl? Had you done anything like this before?
I'd played, nothing like that, right? I never did like
No physical
wrestling.
contact, nothing.
I did basketball, which for me was pretty physical because I was physical.
Yes.
I think I broke the record for fouling out the majority of the games.
She's like an elbow here, a trip there.
I was super competitive. And so, I played basketball all throughout high school, played basketball in college, ran track, but I got my base from gymnastics.
Gotcha.
So as a gymnast from like probably 3 years old all the way up until about 16. And so I think that gymnastics has like sincerely set me up for a lot of like it's like been the foundation that is there's been a lot of application and just body awareness and all of that stuff. So wasn't my first sport, but it was definitely my first like martial art.
Yeah, no, it sounds like, what you really took a liking to was it wasn't just about having confidence in yourself, but having capability. And you really armed yourself with that capability to what you said a moment ago, never be in that position again, to where somebody can attack you or do anything like that to you. And I kind of want to even dial it back to the point where this ex-boyfriend of yours, he cheated on you, number one, and then attacks you, because insult to injury just wasn't enough.
I mean, it's crazy looking back to think that I allowed that. Because I'm a firm believer of like,
how old were you, first of all?
Then that's the thing. It's like, because I do believe like what you're not changing, you're choosing.
Yes.
Right. But I was a very different person back then. I think I was still discovering my identity, becoming me. And I think at the time I was like 19. So
your front cortex was not even developed.
No, it wasn't.
Decision making was.
It wasn't. And my parents, in all fairness, they did try to warn me, but it was almost like that made me want to make it work that much more, to like spite them or like to prove them wrong.
Yes.
And I have great parents and I love and adore them, but that's that age where it's like,
ask your teen while they still know everything.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. And it was like part of me just wanted to prove that like I could do adult things on my own.
Yeah, you're a big girl now.
Yeah, it backfired a little bit, but no, he was not the nicest to me. He would remind me that I was the biggest girl he ever dated.
Ew.
Oh my God.
He would take food off my plate in public and say that I didn't need to eat that. Yeah.
Was he short too?
No, he was
Oh
6'4",
my
probably 200,
gosh.
220 pounds.
You
on
know
the
what
football
that means,
team.
right?
Here we go.
Oh,
We
yeah.
just got the buzzer from our producer.
no.
Okay, Gylan, what did we say that triggered you?
I will pay to see you kick his ass in the ring.
Yes. So originally, Gylan, that's what I thought she was going to say.
Yes.
I had a boyfriend that did the ex-boyfriend that cheated on me. And so I was like, oh, yeah, she took up MMA because she's going to go kick his ass. And I was like,
Listen, we can
no.
do a reality TV show for that segment. I will kick my abuser's ass.
Yeah.
Because you know.
Yeah.
Now, and ha ha
I'm
he
sure
he,
he still
right?
keeps
There,
that.
Oh, I think we could get some recruits for that
Yes.
for sure.
there's nothing funny about it. However, do you think you could kick his ass?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Anyone that has to put, like any man that has to put down a woman to feel good about themselves, they're soft.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're soft. And
Because they wouldn't be attacking a man like that.
No, and it made me realize that like, and it's taken a long time because I used to struggle with like my size, and I
What's
think
your size? You're like tiny.
I'm 5'7", I'm 160 pounds, and so it's like in terms of like compared to the average woman's height and stuff like that, like I am a bit, and I have a lot of muscle, and now I love that, it's because I feel strong, I feel powerful. And
you're wearing high heels. So
and I am wearing heels.
How
Let that be
tall are
known.
you when you're in heels then?
I'm probably like 5'10" right now. Probably 5'10".
I'm
so.
5'7",
Yeah.
and I always say like that was told to me like men that I dated would call me Amazon woman. what is it? Green Giant guy, Jolly Green
Oh,
Giant.
Jolly Green, yeah.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And I was just like, God, I know what my problem is. I'm dating short men.
Yeah. Yeah.
5'10"
he was
and
tall.
5'11" were not my taste
Yeah,
anymore.
he was tall and on the football team and in good shape, but I think he just had some
Complex issues.
yeah. I mean, he just and who knows, maybe things that he's grown. I've grown and matured, and I definitely wasn't perfect either. So, but yeah, I never followed him in the car and beat on his window in a back alley,
Right.
and shook the door, and so it's just like there were some things that I allowed, but I learned and grew from, and
That's a scary moment, though, right there.
Yes.
I feel like what you're saying right there, I know we're all talking about it in a way that's like, that's what prompted you to do MMA. But going back to that moment, how did you feel? Like, did you feel powerless? Did you feel like, could you go to your parents? Could you, did you feel like you could tell somebody about this?
So, and so basically, I used to be a tutor in the library, and a lot of the people that I would tutor were football players. And so once we ended things, he started becoming very like possessive, and like there was just a lot of weird things that were done. He showed up at the library and basically told the guys that I was tutoring to like leave me alone, and started causing a scene. Yeah, because he got jealous that I was working.
Yes.
And I kept remember saying like I'm at work, like not like please not right now, like this is embarrassing me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then he wouldn't stop, so I just started getting on my phone and ignoring him. Comes over and he grabs my phone out of my hand
In the library.
in the public library.
no.
Yes, and I go to reach for it and he shoves me and I fall over the chair falls over. Everybody's like
my
looking at
gosh.
us, and I just start bawling my eyes out because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he like leaves, and then the librarian calls the cops, and the cops asked me if I wanted to press charges or get a restraining order, and there's a lot of like snitches get stitches, and I felt like I would be bullied if I would have done anything.
Right.
And to be completely honest, there was a part of me that just refused to believe that he was capable of
Right.
hurting me, because that's not rational.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't make sense.
Because you don't think somebody that's
And I
supposed to
didn't cheat on
love
him.
you.
That
He's
part.
the one who did the wrong.
Like I didn't do him
Yeah.
wrong at all. Like if anything,
Yeah.
like I was probably too loyal whenever I should have realized that this wasn't the right space for me. And so that night, they had told me to stay off campus to let things diffuse. And so I was leaving, and then I started to notice like a car that I didn't recognize with lights off was following me. It wasn't his car. So he had borrowed one of his
Oh my
teammates'
goodness.
cars
Creepy.
to follow me off campus to see where I was going. And so I start trying to like make turns and
Right.
like lose him. And I'm in a college town.
You have such good intuition because you're able to identify when somebody's following you. Some people don't even realize if that's happening to them.
I guess I just never really thought about it from that. It just, like my instincts, there was just
Yeah.
something that was like, I kept noticing it. And, me, I'm like, I'm going to try to lose him or see if it's actually following me.
Right.
Because my first thing is like, am I being paranoid? Right. Am I being crazy? And once I realized it was following me, I tried to lose them, and I ended up in a dead alley.
Oh my
So it was like a
gosh.
dead end.
Oh,
and
God.
the car comes up behind me, and he's pounding on my window, shaking the door. I just want to talk. I just want to talk. And I did not, like, especially after it's like, if you push me in public,
Yeah,
what are
it's
you
over.
capable of doing
Privately.
in private at
Yeah.
night in a dead
No.
alley, like where no one's around? And I just remember like I was crying. I was just like, please leave me alone. I'm scared. Please, you're scaring me. You're scaring me. And finally I took my phone out and I turned the flash on. I start recording him. I'm like, please don't make me call the cops. You're scaring me. I kept saying his name over and over again. I am scared. Please just leave. I don't want to talk right now. Please just leave. I'm scared. And finally he stopped yelling and listened, and because he saw the flash and realized that I was recording him, and he left. And so I never did anything with the video, but
How
like,
do you have so much courage in that moment? Because like Jacqueline was talking about, like you have that intuition, and you've shown us that, you've told us about that, but that you acted on it. Now
yeah.
that is where a lot of people, like they'll feel something, but they're not going to do, or they freeze. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been there too. Like you're just kind of like, oh my, I mean, I'm getting shivers right now just thinking about it. And I had a similar situation where I had some people who had road rage on a 2-lane highway at night who were following me. They thought I cut them off. They were on drugs. And I was racing, trying to get past them for like 20 miles, and they were just on my tail. I mean, I thought they were going to hit
20
me.
miles?
Yes.
Oh my
That's
God.
I was in a little town traveling to my hometown from college, and it was about 20 miles. I whipped into the very first gas station. I'm getting chills because I'm remembering this. Whipped into the gas station, pulled over. I thought they passed. Well, they pretended to pass me, and little did I know, they pulled somewhere like off to the side, and then the guy's
Waiting.
banging on my window, like, open the damn window.
Even once they realized that you were just, oh my goodness.
Yes, and
oh
they were
my
on
goodness.
drugs. I mean, I could tell the guy was all tweaked out and everything like that. But in that moment, it was like, oh my
That's
God, what
scary.
do I do?
Yeah.
But like, I didn't have a cell phone. But like that, you used your cell phone. That you had the audacity to pull out that
audacity.
cell phone and like
Yes.
do that to him. Like, where do you think that? Where do you draw that from?
So I think it honestly kind of translates to that fight or flight response, right?
Yes.
And fighting is a lot of, you some people have it, some people don't. And I guess I never really gave myself credit for having it. And now that it's kind of like funny that we're piecing this together, because whenever I went to that MMA practice that first time, the first time that I got rocked in the face, it wasn't defeating. I didn't feel helpless. I didn't feel, scared. It was almost like, no, I'm going to fight back. And so I think, I think that was I think maybe subconsciously I always had that.
Yes.
But I think that was the first moment that I realized that. And I do want to give my parents credit. Like, they always raised me to be assertive and, to stick up for myself. And
Do you have siblings?
I do.
Okay.
And I'm the oldest.
I
I'm
was
the
going to
oldest
say,
one.
where do you fall?
Yeah, I'm the oldest one. So I think that it just kind of comes to almost like my body just naturally starts to respond.
Yes.
And there's been a couple situations where, I've been in gyms and people have gotten injured, and, I was pre-med undergrad. So immediately I come over and then this guy split his head open. You can like see the skull and like, we're,
you're piecing it together.
yeah. So I'm like holding and I'm talking to him, and it's like in the moment, like it's just a reaction.
You jump
Now,
into action.
afterwards, when it's all said and done, then it kind of hits me. I'm like,
Oh my God, I just
oh my
did
gosh,
that.
like, yeah. And there was a time that a guy had, I don't know if his heart stopped at one of the gyms. He was in his 70s, and so I'm doing like CPR on him, and I come over, and then once the EMS come and take him away, and I sat in my car, and then I realized like I might have been the last person to touch him alive. Like,
Oh my
Oh
he
my
might, and then
goodness.
I had to make that emergency phone, and it hit me. But
Yes.
in the moment, it was like I just respond and I start doing what needs to be done. But then like the flight or that freeze part comes after. It's a weird
Yeah.
thing for me. It's a weird,
That's good,
So I
though.
do get those. I do feel human, like normal human responses. But sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. Like, take action first, do what you got to do, and then
Yeah.
process later.
What is that? There's a saying, hit first, ask questions later.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
How do you feel like, did you ever have to challenge a guy with MMA fighting, like as far as training or challenging, like a challenge?
So I've actually never been into like a real life street fight. I've had a couple close calls, but I never actually got into any fights. For the most part, I think I try to like, I don't know, I definitely try to de-escalate things first. But because I am 5'7", 160 pounds, a lot of my training partners are men. So actually the majority of the people that I train with on a day-to-day basis are guys. Because,
Yeah.
a lot of the girls, especially South Texas, tend to be, more 5'2", 120,
Yes.
130 pounds.
I'm surprised we haven't had a buzzard moment. There we go. I heard him chuckle. I knew it was coming. Go ahead.
Well, she sounds like Charles Barkley right now with the way he talks about San Antonio women and how big they are. So,
I mean, a lot of the girls that do MMA are significantly smaller than me. And then
Is it hard to find a partner then?
It is.
Like a match?
Yes.
It is.
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
are you
I like-
heavy? You're not heavyweight, but are you considered like the top weight? Correct?
For the UFC, I fight at the heaviest weight class for women.
Oh, wow.
At the heaviest weight class, they have 115, 125, and 135, and I fight at 135.
I
And
feel like
what's
this
your
is
win for win?
sexist.
Isn't it? Yeah, men get to be 260 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. The women can only be 135.
135.
It's ridiculous.
That's the highest?
For the UFC.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, for the
Come
UFC.
on, guys. Like, we're talking to you. Like, fix this.
Fix this
So,
for real.
but
Okay,
yeah.
so a lot of the people you do spar with and train with are men, which I feel like can be a super advantage for you as well, because you're learning, like you're working out muscles and strength and, I feel like a lot of fast twitch too for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And as much as I hate to admit this, like there are genetic differences,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so if you go through puberty and you have testosterone, your bones are a little more dense, your hands are usually a little bit bigger. Obviously strength and stamina is a little bit different. Yeah, obviously your strength and stamina is a little bit different.
Yes.
So I will say one of the pros to it is guys are generally a little bit quicker, generally a little bit stronger, and so I feel like I don't have to hold back on my male teammates,
I love it.
at all, like in any capacity. And if I can, you know, go through rounds with men that are a little bit bigger than me or whatever, then it's not, you know, when I walk into the cage and I'm training against a woman, there's just like that sense of like, okay, I've been hit by guys, like, you know, I've wrestled with guys, and so there's a little bit of confidence that goes into it.
And capability.
And I do feel like, so I do feel like men are easier to take down.
Oh,
They are,
Oh my
because where do
gosh.
women carry their weight?
Oh, yeah.
Bottom
Yeah.
half.
yes.
Men carry their weight up top.
Up
So if I can get
top.
around the legs,
This
they're
is
top
good.
heavy. Yeah.
Ah,
We need
good
some
to
training
know.
sessions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
We need
we're gonna have
takedown
to-
sessions.
yes.
We'll get you.
We're gonna have to be. We're gonna learn that now.
Yes.
Oh God, Guylan, yes.
What do
gonna
you mean
demonstrate
men
for
are
us?
easier to take down?
Men
Well,
are
let's let
easier.
you demonstrate.
Were you
Oh,
not
no.
I
listening?
can show a tutorial right now.
No, I've always said that I will. I've had other podcasts, right? So I produce podcasts, and I've had other podcasts where men. Matter of fact, I had this debate with somebody that saw Liv, and I'm like, I guarantee you, she can kick your ass. Like I guarantee you. And the guy, and he was like, no, what if I get to hit or whatever else? I was like, no, it's MMA. I was like, no, trust me. And he was probably 6'3", 6'4". He was probably 180 or so.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't.
But he was like, yeah, I could take her out. I could take her out. I was like, no, there's no way. Like, this is what she does for a living. Like, you get hit, you get angry, you lose everything. Liv gets hit, she enjoys it.
It's not emotion. Yeah, there's an art to being hit. There really is. Like to taking a punch, there is an art
She's
to that.
like one of
I think
those
we need
where it's
another
like,
episode.
Punch her, and then she's like,
smiles.
"That all you got?"
You just get
Do
this
it again.
smile of like, all right.
Well, Liv, tell them about the first time that happened when you got hit.
Yeah, so I was
Not just hit, but hit.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
sparring with this. She's a professional mixed martial artist. Her name is Rachel Martinez up in Chicago, and she was kind of like my mentor because she helped me out when I first started training. But when we first sparred, I don't know if she knew that this was like my first time, so she wasn't holding back, and she hit me with a double kick. So like the first kick was low,
Yeah.
and then so when she went to throw that second kick, I expected it to be where the first one was.
Yeah.
But it came up high, and it got me right across the jaw. To the point where, like, I think my bite was a little off for like a week. It like she rocked me. But in that moment, it was like, oh, okay. Like, and then there was a small part of me that kind of liked it. Like, it's like when you jump into like really cold water, it's like this jolt. It's uncomfortable.
Once you get past that initial.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but you're like, I'm alive right now. Like, this is
Yes.
like my blood's pumping. Like, you really realize, like, it puts things in perspective. Right? It makes you realize that that person who cut you off on the road is not that big a deal because they didn't punch you right in the face, you know? Or that person that said something mean. It's just like, it really just kind of made all of my little annoying or nuanced things throughout the day like less bothersome because I'm like, I'm not getting punched or kicked right now. It's really not that big a deal. Like, it'll be okay, you know?
Oh, I say that
When
all
did-
the time too. Like, oh my God, I went through all of this. Trust me. Your little thing against me, no biggie.
No biggie. Yep.
You
no
don't like
biggie.
me? Good.
But are you going to fight me? Probably not, you know?
So when did that initial, so you're doing the training, you're starting all your training, and initially it's out of that, not wanting to have that fear again, that feeling. So when did that turn into passion and love and like career for you? And how?
So I joined, it was Midwest Training Center in Chicago. I joined that gym in like March of 2021. And so I kept going and going and going. And, you know, it was just fun because when you first start learning something, your skill sets develop very quickly. And so for me, it was like super rewarding to realize like, I'm like the person I am this week beat the crap out of the person I was last week, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And so that was how I was comparing myself as like
Competing with yourself.
competing with myself.
basically.
Yeah. And we would video everything and I would sit there and you can ask my fiance. I would just be studying my video and watch this. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
you know.
I saw that last week. No, it's
Right.
different.
It's slightly different. And so I would think I was kind of obsessed from the jump because it was something new and exciting that I was learning. And I don't think I immediately put the two and two together that like I loved it because of how empowering it was and all these other things. But it wasn't until I'd been going for a couple months and the MMA coach that was there started to like notice me. And he's like, you know, what's your background? And he thought I came from a wrestling background because I had a very wrestle heavy
Yeah.
stance. And wrestling always kind of came the most natural to me. And I was strong and physical and not afraid.
Right.
You know, I might eat a punch on the way in, but I'm slamming you down on the ground once I get to you, you know? And so he assumed that I had a background in it. And he was like, well, do you have any aspirations to fight? And I didn't until he asked me that. When he asked me that, I was like,
Ding,
yeah.
ding, ding.
Like I was just like, yeah, let's do it, you know?
Hello.
And so he asked me what my weight was. And my first fight, I actually fought at 145. He didn't want me to have to cut too much weight because I'd never cut weight before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me being the overachiever that I am, I weighed in at 139, so I cut way too much weight. The guy was like, "Did you mean to?" I just didn't know, you know.
Yeah.
I was for sure not going to miss weight, right?
Yes.
And so I almost overcut to the point where if you're too much under, you and the girl have to be within 7 pounds of each other.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
almost too light to fight her.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until we got into the cage and like the adrenaline. Now, granted, I haven't like done drugs like that, you know. There's a lot of drugs that I've never tried, but it's better than any drug I could imagine. You know, like that adrenaline, like you can feel your heartbeat, you can feel like every part of your body you're fully intact and aware of. And so
Did you ever throw up before?
No.
No, you never
No.
got that type of
It's-
nerves.
Yeah, no, like honestly, it comes in waves. So like when I watch my teammates fight, there's that butterfly, like, oh goodness, like I get nervous for them. But then the second that it's like my turn, and I do have this song that I listen to when I'm getting my hands wrapped. I think it's called Oceans by Hillsong. It's a very beautiful Christian song. And it just kind of like makes me feel at peace. And like to some degree, there's an element of faith, right?
Yeah.
You know, fear is
to
a
believe.
natural reaction that your body has. You cannot control fear.
Yeah.
It happens. But what you can control is how you respond to that
Right.
fear.
Yes.
Right. And so that was where I took like the confidence in knowing that like, hey, I could choose to be, you know, to be powerful, to be strong. I could choose to not be afraid or to not allow my fear to prevent me from doing something.
Right.
And so every time that you like force yourself to do something that is scary, that's hard, that's uncomfortable, like you evolve a little bit as a human being.
Right.
Not just physically, but like emotionally
Mentally,
and mentally.
Mentally, you're
emotionally,
growing.
yes.
Yes. And
Decision making wise as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so my first fight was at the Railcat Stadium in Indiana. And so I'm walking out into this baseball field, essentially, out through the dugout, which was grungy and crazy, and
Oh my
but it was like
God.
perfect weather. And
Let's get them dirty before.
yeah, right.
before
And
they
so
fight.
I'm walking out, and then it's just like this, holy crap! I'm about to get into a cage with a stranger that's trying to knock my head off. Like, and then I'm like,
And this
not
is
if I
your
knock
first
her-
fight?
My first fight
Oh
ever.
my
my first
gosh.
fight. So I ended up making my amateur debut in August of 21.
Did
so
you
mind
ever?
Okay.
Hold on. Did you ever in that moment think to yourself like, "What was I thinking? Why am I doing this?"
Honestly, no.
No?
Like, no, I just, cause like in the back of my mind, I thought I was going to hurt the girl. Like I was like, I'm going to beat this chick up, you know? And it made it even cooler because like, so at the time, all my coworkers, like all my employees, I probably had like 50 employees that were there. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have to beat the crap out of this girl because my employees will not let me live this down.
Everybody's watching.
Yeah,
They're going to
they
hold this
see
against me.
Right. And so it actually is funny because like, I ended up winning second round TKO. I hit her with a big heavy overhand, dropped her.
TKO. I love
Second
that.
round.
Yeah,
Dang.
second round. So then I'm on top, and I'm just like hammer fisting her face, and she's just kind of like shelled up, and finally the ref comes and pulls me off. And I don't know why, but the ref pulling me off of this like helpless individual was like the coolest feeling ever.
You have lots of video of that.
Yes, I have lots of video, and I mean there was like my alter ego just kicked in, and I started jumping and acting a straight up fool. But it was like in that moment, I'm like, when can I do this again? Like I need to do. Like
Now
I
you became a junkie.
addicted. Yeah, it was just like it was like the high of
The adrenaline.
the adrenaline and the
Yeah.
adrenaline, and it's the craziest thing because like I also at that point had not been drinking like at all for like months and months and months and months. So
Well,
I
you
had
can because you're training.
training and cutting weight, and so I had no tolerance. But we were drinking moonshine that night.
Oh
and I
my
swear,
God.
I swear,
Not even just alcohol, moonshine.
moonshine,
It
right?
can be very scary.
Moonshine, yeah. And so I didn't even
And
like
this
I got
isn't-
buzzed, but
oh
I
my
didn't get
God.
wasted because my adrenaline was just churning through it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, and then I was like this, and I was like reliving the fight, and I was showing everybody the shadow boxing stuff, and here I am just drinking moonshine. And so then I go back and I just lay down. I just remember like looking up at my ceiling, just like reliving the moment over and over and over. And then my alarm goes off. I didn't sleep at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then I went
You pulled an
downtown, had brunch with a
all-nighter?
girl. Oh, and I was just like, you would have
Gosh.
thought I was on some kind of drug or something, but it was like and now it hasn't been the same since. Like that was that first
Right.
like
The initial.
the initial one.
Yeah.
But that was when I knew I was like, I'm gonna do
That's
this
where
over
you got-
and
I
over
got the
again.
addiction. I'm
gonna-
addicted.
Yeah. So and at first, like I think I fell in love with winning and getting my hand raised.
Ooh, yes.
And like that was I think that first fight.
Yeah.
After the second fight, something bigger than me and bigger than just winning it was like afterwards when I'd have these little girls or women come up and, hey, you've inspired me. Hey, watching you do this, I never, you know, because there's not a lot of women that fight.
Right.
You know, and I think to some degree, like, I don't necessarily maybe look like a fighter right now. And so there were a lot of women that maybe didn't see themselves as fighters that could relate through me in some capacity.
You're like the secret weapon. Because when I first met you and he told me you're an MMA fighter, I was like, oh my God, she's dangerous. Because she doesn't look like, you know, like what you would think of as an MMA fighter. You're gorgeous and you dress nice. You're fashionable as well. So I'm like, oh, that's dangerous. Let somebody pick on her.
Right. Yeah,
Wrong girl.
Well, you're like the triple threat.
Oh my God.
Beauty,
Kylie, what did I
talent,
say?
and
You,
brains.
no,
It's
you
like
gave me a
perfect.
buzzer. I do
Okay.
not want to hear any. You gave me a buzzer.
I gave him a buzzard.
him a buzzer.
Okay.
You gave me a
should not
buzzer.
have done that, guys.
So, being an attractive fighter, right? Do you think people underestimate you because you look so feminine and harmless, right? I mean, if everybody knows who Chris Cyborg is, that's a different type of look. But you don't have that same type of look. So you look harmless.
Right.
But the question is, can it get you hurt? But I don't think it can get you hurt. It can get other people hurt.
I don't think she looks harmless, though. Let's stop there because I think she looks very confident, and confidence kind of gets people away from trying to mess with people. She definitely looks confident, so I don't.
Sure.
I think that would be like something that deters people right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, there's been a couple times where, you know, I've had people say that the only reason that I'm getting certain opportunities is because of the way that I look, or
Oh God.
you know,
Of
that type
course.
of that
Pretty
type
pay?
of
Hey, there's
Yeah.
an
Pretty face,
episode that we
baby.
released
That
a couple of
type of
weeks ago. Pretty Pays.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
I actually had a question for you on that because we follow each other on social media, and I saw your Christmas photos.
Wow.
And I don't know if you
Those
did, but I was like,
pre-MMA. That was back in 2020.
well, first of all,
Wait, what?
gorgeous.
Those were?
Back in that was before I ever started fighting.
Oh,
so yeah, I
wow.
had to sprinkle in some throwbacks.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that's
I thought that
awesome.
was right now.
I did too.
Okay, okay.
No, those are old before my nose got all broken up. But
Oh my gosh.
Well,
okay.
beautiful.
yeah, well, thank
But
Do you
you.
have the
So when we're-
cauliflower ears too?
No, actually, I got very lucky in the sense that there's a little bit of like swelling.
Yeah.
But unless you knew what the ears looked like originally.
Yeah.
I do have small ears, so I think that helps because they don't get in the way as often. But I actually apparently cauliflower ear is something that's a little bit genetic.
Yeah. Oh.
So like some
okay.
people
Did
are
not know.
more likely
Prone
to
to
get
it, yeah.
prone to it than others.
Okay.
That's not to say that I'll never ever get it, but
Right.
I mean I've been training for 5 years now and training daily
Not the
and hard.
nose though.
But
not
my
the
nose, on the other hand, there's no genetic saver for your nose.
How did your nose? So your mom showed up, right? I showed up.
yeah,
It was
he
in
was there for
Houston.
that.
Yeah. So that was her the nose thing. I'll give her the story, but it was what was that? That was her pro debut. So
My
go
pro
for
debut.
it. I'm curious. They're curious.
So, gosh, my mom never went to a single one of my amateur fights. Not a single, and like she was one of those moms where and obviously I didn't know because I wasn't there, but
She didn't want to see you.
I can
get
imagine,
hurt.
It'd be so
yeah, like
difficult.
for all of my
Yeah.
my amateur fights, my family would stream it online, and I could just picture my mom like sitting there, like you know, like
Yes.
and she said she would always wait until after the fight was over, and then is she okay? Okay, I'll go watch it now, but she could never
Yeah.
watch it live.
During. Oh God.
And the crazy
I
thing
can
is,
imagine.
yeah, my amateur career, I didn't get touched. Like I finished almost all but one of my fights. You know, I finished them. I never had any bruising. It almost like it wasn't like I was breezing through girls. And so my mom finally, after 6 in a row of me just like being unscathed,
Knocked him out.
she's like, you know
think I
what?
can
I
do
think
this.
I can watch this. Yeah,
I can
watch
handle this. Yeah.
So she shows up to my pro debut,
Oh,
which was
gosh.
on Mother's Day.
Oh my God.
On Mother's Day in Houston.
Giving your mom a heart
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah,
Jeez.
pretty much. And so I promised her, she's like, all right, first round knockout, just hit it really hard, get out of there, like don't let her touch you. I'm like, Mom, I got it. Like, and I was super confident. And
Yeah.
I went up in weight class to fight it because there wasn't nobody wanted to fight me at my weight.
Yeah.
And so I went up to fight a bigger girl that I still felt for sure I was gonna, whoop up.
Because now you're on the lower end of that weight class now, right?
yes,
Yeah.
she had
okay.
6 inches of reach on me.
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh. That's a
yeah.
huge deal
It
in
is.
MMA.
So there's this one picture of me, like my arm is like fully extended and I'm not making contact and her arm is bent, hitting me right in the face.
gosh.
So it made a huge, and to be fair, like the first minute of the very first round, she hits me with a left hook.
Oh God.
And I feel it crunch.
Did you feel different
As
with
soon
this
as
fight?
she hit me, going into it, no, I felt very confident. I thought honestly I was just gonna walk
No,
right
after
through
the
her.
first punch.
Oh, as soon as she hit me, I thought to myself, like, she just broke my nose. And I knew right then and there, but then it didn't bleed for like 15 seconds later. So then I'm starting to be like, oh, well, maybe I'm good.
okay.
And then I tasted iron. And I'm like, yep.
No.
And then it bled non-stop for 14 minutes.
Oh my
To the point where the commentators were like, oh, the canvas looks like a red finger painting for Mother's Day. It was bad.
Did they have to stop the fight because you couldn't stop bleeding?
No,
or?
it went, and actually, I went on to win the third round. I was on top of her.
Wait,
I took
you
her down.
won this fight?
Actually, I lost split decision.
Oh,
Split decision,
not the split
but-
decision.
But she didn't knock you out.
She didn't knock me out, and she's on a 5-fight win streak. I'm the only girl that she's finished everyone else but me.
And this is your first time fighting
This was
the
my
up
pro
class.
debut. And so she
Wow.
had been a pro. I think she already had 3 or 4 pro fights in by the time I accepted her.
Oh my god.
And to be fair, she was a better boxer than me at the time. I've gotten better at boxing since then. But at the time, she was a better boxer.
I love that you could say that.
Yes.
She
I
was.
love
I'll give her credit, and she hit harder than anyone else I've ever fought. I don't know if it was because she was bigger or whatever, but I'll give her those 2 things. Right? She was
Yeah.
very, very talented boxer. And the second that she hit me in the face and broke my nose, I threw out the game plan and the strategy. The strategy was going to be to wrestle her, to take her to the ground, to submit her, because that had been like kind of my
Your
strength.
thing.
And I had much shorter arms than her. But the second she hit me in the face, I was like, I've got to knock this girl out.
She
I did
rewrote
not-
the blueprint.
I did. And my coaches to this day don't let me live it down. They're like, this is the only time you never listened and see what happened to you, you know? And I got emotional. It was that competitive, like,
yeah.
so it was not, oh, I'm going to win this fight. It's,
You were
I'm
in
going to
your
break
head.
her face. I'm going to knock her out. I'm going to get her back, you know? And it had nothing to do with her as a human being, right?
Right.
But her
Yeah.
as the fighter, the opponent that I'm facing.
Your opponent, yeah.
And because it's as much as it sounds like there's no animosity. I respect her. I've watched all of her fights since then. I've supported, you know, I've rooted for
Sure.
her. And until she fights me again, I wish her nothing but success.
Exactly.
Until that fight, we
Only
get
when
back
you're in
together.
the ring.
Well, okay, so on that note, I mean, you mentioned having a fiance. How does your fiance feel, number one, about you getting punched in the face?
Yep.
But also, how does he see you? Like, how is that relationship?
So we started dating.
Is he MMA?
No,
No, okay.
he does more like power building.
Okay.
Like, so he's almost at a 405 bench. I'm gonna brag on him a second.
Wow.
He can squat 550 pounds. He can
Okay.
deadlift over 600 and something. So he's a big, strong guy, but does not train MMA yet, right?
Is he
get
tall?
him. He's 5'10".
Ah,
5'10".
okay,
So
got it.
definitely way bigger than me, and, you know, doesn't take food off my plate.
Yeah.
He puts it on there.
He does. He actually,
Yeah.
he'll joke, because, like, you know, when I'm in camp, I get really lean and I eat like a rabbit. And he made this one comment one time. He's like, "Man, I really miss my like fat fiance."
Oh my god!
And he didn't mean it like in
Yeah,
the,
not
but
like
like
that
we
way.
like to go eat.
No.
We like
Yeah.
to eat out.
But
and,
what's your nickname?
Yum Yum?
Yum Yum,
Yes. So obviously
She gobbles them up.
I do. I eat them up and leave no crumbs, right? But anyway, yeah. So the game plan was to wrestle her, because we knew that she really didn't have much of a ground game back then, and that was going to be my clear path. Like, that was just the best path to victory. And I waited until 90 seconds left, because I just stood there and traded punch, just blood splattering.
Oh
my
my
blood's all over
gosh.
her. Like, it was a bloodbath. But I kept getting better as the rounds went on and on. So the way that like this judging works is there's 3 judges, and then they each judge each round.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's a close round, they'll give the person who they think won 10 points, and then the other person 9.
Yeah.
If you're beating the crap out of someone, it's 10-8. Right?
Mhm.
And so the first round, all 3 judges gave her 10 and gave me 9.
Okay.
The second round, 2 judges gave her 10, 1 judge gave me 10.
Okay.
And then the third round, all 3 judges gave me 10.
Ooh.
So it was
yes.
1 judge, 1 round. That second round was the deciding round.
Yeah.
And so had it been a street fight, I obviously was winning the third round. I was at a point where I was about to finish her, you know. I would like to think, but the way that it scored,
Yeah.
I lost by split decision.
Yeah.
So 2 judges gave her the majority of the rounds, 1 judge gave me the majority of the rounds, and so it was a very tough way to lose. Very tough way to lose.
And so that going
go
forward, one of the I was asking a question.
Wait, let Amber's question. I want to hear what the question is.
I want to talk. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so I mean, part of what we're talking about here today is like when you get punched out, what is that game plan changer? So you weren't expecting this
Not at all.
at all. You said you went into this, you thought you were going to lay her
Very
out.
confident, yes.
Very confident. And then you came back at the end, and I'm sure you thought you had it.
I thought for
You
sure.
thought you had
I
it.
mean,
She had it in the bag.
Once I got, because I finished the round with her on her back, and I'm just punching her. I'm straddling her, punching her. And so,
you can get that mental knockout.
Yes. Yeah, in my head, right? And I waited too long to take her to the ground. Had I done that in the second round, I would have won the fight,
Right.
And I think she realizes that too, right? On the feet, she had me, but on the ground, I had her. I wanted to beat her at her own thing, right? And so, to be honest, like in between rounds, like because after the first round, we go back over and there's this cool video of me walking and just blood leaking out,
Oh
and
my
the cut
gosh.
man's like trying to fix me up, and so I'm sitting there, and my coaches are just giving me all this advice, and I'm just leaking, just bleeding and bleeding. They put those little things up my nose, and
Oh my God.
and in my head, I'm just like, I know what you're saying, but I know what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go knock her out. And I believed in my soul I was going to knock her out, and then it didn't happen. And so then finally, 90 seconds left of the round, I'm like, oh, this is a close round. I'm bleeding more than her. I need to finish this.
Right.
So I was like, so I shot the takedown, took her to the ground, almost had the choke in, and then I heard the 10-second bell go off.
Oh God.
So with 10 seconds left, I'm like, okay, she can just hold her breath. So I thought, okay, damage is going to look better.
Right.
So then I abandoned the choke and just start punching
Oh,
in
God.
elbows. Yeah. And then it ended, and
I love that. I abandoned the choke.
I stood up and I
beat
put my
her
hands
face.
up, because I think there's some degree of that too. Like once the fight's over, because the judges, there's always a little bit of bias, right? So
Yeah.
if one person's like sitting there sucking air, looking defeated, and the other person's walking around with their hands up,
Yeah.
feeling,
Right.
And so that's what I did. I walked around with my head high,
Confidence.
blood leaking out my
Yeah.
nose, my hands in the air, and then they said it goes to decision, and then all right, Judge so and so scores it to Stewart, so Judge so and so scores it to Bierley, and so then this suspense. It's like in a movie when things
Yes.
get real quiet, and you're just like, hey, who won? Who won? Who won? Like I knew that whoever was next, and then they called her name, and I just remember like feeling, just so like as good as all the wins felt,
Mm-hmm.
that loss hurt.
Yes.
Like and
Yes.
it still hurts.
Oh,
It still hurts,
yeah.
It still hurts because in my heart, I believe that I was the better fighter. I just think that I didn't come in and follow the game plan that I
Ooh.
should have followed. And so it made the loss hurt worse because it felt like it was my fault. Like I chose.
To abandon the plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did that, so then moving forward, because that was 2021, right? You said?
No, I
Or
made
20
that. So I made my amateur debut in 21. I made my pro debut on Mother's Day in 24.
24. So
Yeah.
this is recent.
Recent,
So
yeah.
how did you change that game plan going forward for your overall success moving forward after you got that
So the
punch in the face?
So the very next fight was in September of 24, and my coach and I, we had a game plan, and a week before the fight, we're practicing this. Basically, she's going to throw these kicks. She's going to throw these kicks.
Yep.
You got to time it, step in on one, and throw that straight right, because when you throw that kick, your guard's down.
Yeah.
And so there's literally a video of me a week before the fight doing it with my coach, and then there's like a dummy behind him, so that after I punch him really hard, I fall on top of this dummy and just start beating the crap out of the dummy.
Oh, nice.
And so then in my very next fight, first round, she's throwing these leg kicks. I step in on one and eat the leg kick, but I punch her with my right hand, and she is
Locks up.
asleep.
Oh.
Like feet off the ground, hands
Oh.
rigid,
Oh my goodness.
out asleep. And so it literally, so I made a
You
little side
knocked
by
her
side.
wind out.
And it was
Yeah.
exactly verbatim what we had practiced. So it's like sticking to the game plan. Like there's
Yeah.
coaches for a reason.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
Wait. Can you say that one more time?
There are coaches for a reason.
There are coaches for a
reason.
reason. Oh
Yes.
man, I love that. Let's put that on our coffee mug right here.
Coaches for,
That goes on a
My co-
t-shirt.
my
That
coach
goes on
will-
a t-shirt.
Well,
He'll replay that one.
our last episode, we talked a lot about like, I know Amber, you brought up, being soft and like that feminine, when you're always having to be strong in situations like we were talking about it in different ways, but like strong in life, strong at home, kind of doing all that. How do you feel like being in MMA has softened or hardened you?
So I think in general, it's made me more patient.
Ooh.
I think like
Okay.
I'm way less down to throw hands outside of the cage. There's a certain level of control,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that self-control and just knowing like, hey, if need be, I have it,
Right.
but I don't always have to like puff my chest out,
Brandish it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think like, for instance, like a lion never has to announce that it's a lion,
Right.
Like it can
Yes,
just
you
lay
just
there.
are.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think to some degree there's that. But I do think that because now I'm approaching my 30s, and so I'm starting to like
Congratulations.
realize, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. I'm starting to realize like that maternal like I feel more like I want to start nurturing
Nurturing
things.
energy.
And yeah, like
Yes.
I feel, and at first, like that was very off-putting to me. And I
Yeah.
mean, and it's hard to explain that, but at first it was like like, is this gonna, but now I realize it's kind of a superpower, if
Yes.
you know how to utilize it. And I think being a mother is a superpower, so I
Yes.
look forward to
Amen.
that chapter of my life once fighting's done. But I do think that in general, like, I think it's made me want to stand up for people that maybe can't stand up for themselves yet.
Advocate for
Yes.
people
Yes.
that don't use their voice. Yeah.
That part. And
I love that.
I think that after those first couple of MMA fights, I realized that fighting wasn't just something for me. It was a platform that allowed me to touch other people, and a platform that gave me the ability to speak to an audience that may have never listened to me prior.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of good that can be used with that. And there's a little bit of weight to it, because I feel like that's a very important position.
Yes.
And I'm a human. I'm not perfect. As much as I would like to be perfect,
Wouldn't we
I'm
all?
not. Yeah, I'm not, so I know sometimes
In our heads, we are.
right. So it's like, I know sometimes I say things that maybe don't represent like the way that I want to be, like the way that I want to represent myself, and so as I've really had to check myself to say, hey, look, like there are people that might be watching or listening, and you never know like how something that may be harmless to me might affect someone else. So there's been a lot of like growth and learning and self like reflection that I've had to go through to realize that, like, with, to whom much is given, much is expected,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
But you're
using
already
that the right way.
impacting young women, and this is really beautiful. You're doing something that a lot of women would never dream of
Yes.
doing, and with grace and beauty and strength, and it's just beautiful. Love
You're a
it.
full package.
Yes.
Well, beginning of when we first got started with this episode, you had talked about the other podcasts that you have been invited onto, and a majority of them were male podcasts. And you said you've only been on one other podcast that was women led. And that to me is interesting, because I know, obviously those are probably like sports type of podcasts. But I do feel like that element of what you're talking about is you took your safety into your own hands. You took capability into your own hands. You trained, you brought discipline into your life. And even what you talked about, even having that awareness now where you don't have to flex, you don't have to be the biggest person in the room. Like, you know what you're capable of, and you're confident in that. And that silent confidence, that's something that you're carrying. But it is something that can be taught to other women, children, young girls that are even growing up and, might be facing something that you had just talked to us about today in your experience. And I think you definitely need to be on more podcasts.
Absolutely.
And be in the arena of guest speaking and, keynote speaking at even women's conferences or events, because you have a lot to offer in regards to inspiration and motivation of taking ownership of your own life.
Hint,
And that's
hint,
what you
hint, 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 hint.
I would love to.
Conference,
I would love to.
conference.
Oh,
Hint,
we have a
hint,
yeah,
hint.
conference coming. Well,
Yo,
sure you
that
could probably
she would.
twist my arm a little.
Yeah, she'd be
yeah.
We'll
awesome.
contact your agent.
No, but seriously,
But no.
you said it clearly, and that's like really wholeheartedly what I believe too, is like, too much who is given, much is required. And it is a responsibility and a duty when you are blessed and you are, you figured it out, how do you
Right.
teach other people how to figure it out?
I think, and that's hard because everybody kind of has to come to terms with that on their own. But I believe that you're only as important as you make other people feel.
Yes.
Right. And so growing up, I was the new girl 3 times in 4 years, like from middle school. And I was bullied and bullied by both men and women. But I realized like being bullied by women was worse, like so much worse.
Oh God, the mean girl effect.
Yeah, so much worse. And so, I was used to being excluded, whether it was intentional or unintentional, to the point where maybe I overcompensate, and I'm very inclusive now.
Yeah.
But I just remember like there were always people, and it always, I was aware of this at a young age, that were only nice to somebody if they felt like they could benefit from the
Oh, yeah.
relationship.
Ooh.
And it just felt very
Yeah.
transactional, right? And so like I think about some of the coolest people that I've ever met are people that weren't in the popular group or weren't like, you know, whatever you want to call it. Like in high school, it's all that silly hierarchy of whatever, like the prom court or whatever. And it made me realize that like, who assigns somebody's value? Like we don't deserve to do that. Like only God can assign somebody's value. And so I think for me, like the one thing that I am very passionate about is making sure that no matter what skill level you're at, what age you're at, what, you know, what class, like any of that stuff, it doesn't matter race, how much you make, what all you have. It's like who you are and how you treat people is what matters.
Yes.
And so if I can meet somebody and then make sure to be like, after my fights, when people come up and want to take pictures, I make a point to like get to know their name and not just, oh, here, take a picture and whatever. Like, I'm assuming that they know mine because I just fought, but I want to know their name. And like, just sometimes you can see someone's face light up. Like they didn't expect me to care.
Right.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And like, that's probably one of the best parts is like, once I get out of the cage, you know, getting to share that with somebody else and make them feel as important as I just felt.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then because I think that's the one thing is people need to feel loved and they need, regardless of whether they've given you anything or not, everybody deserves that.
Yeah, we're always talking about that on the show a lot. You know,
Empathy,
it's just having
grace.
Right,
little
yeah.
kindness for people because, I mean, it goes a long way.
It does.
And like you said, they're not expecting that from you because what do a lot of other celebrities and people out there when they go up
all
to
about
them? It's all about them. It's all about how do I look, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not
Come
what
make
it's
me
about.
look good.
Right,
You know?
right.
And I like that you're passing it forward and you're thinking about that. And to me, that's important. That is so valuable.
Well, and that's how I see it is like, if I don't have anybody following me, supporting me or whatever, then it's like, they're the ones that are giving me some,
this,
right.
keeping
And
it
so,
going.
And your legacy is what's going to be left behind. And for me, I've always said a similar thing, which is I want that legacy to be people knowing me as a good person, a kind person.
how you treat others.
So what does life look like outside of the ring, outside of the cage?
Well, life has changed a little bit just recently. So I was a vice president for LA Fitness. Yeah, I was with LA Fitness for 8 years. So pretty much it was my first job out of school. And I think I've learned a lot. And, you know, there's been a lot of amazing chapters, but I just recently quit my job.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yay!
So the level of crazy that you have to be to walk away from a career.
The level of crazy.
the level
I
of
love
crazy.
this.
But I don't think that like I feel like some of the people who have done the most things have been like you have to be a little bit crazy.
Risky. You got to
Yeah.
be crazy.
Nothing great was ever built from your comfort zone. And it was really hard for me because I think gosh, in November my boss's boss comes and visits and he, you know, runs pretty much, he's like a senior executive VP with the company. And I see him maybe once a year. And the first thing he says to me is like, so when are you going to quit this little fighting thing?
Oh, I thought he was going to say the
I
other
did
way.
too.
Yeah. And I just remember kind of like, for one, there's not a hello. There's not like, that was
Yes.
literally the first way that you greeted me. And it was almost, and I don't have any like ill will.
Like
you know.
intimidated much?
I think, and I
Yeah.
see it from he wanted me, like every company wants you to be completely bought in.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
full
And I used
hard.
to be one of those get there at 6 a.m., train till 8, work from 8 to 8, go home. And I was living there, you know, and because I
Yeah.
loved it and I love the fitness industry. But then when I started doing MMA, I have to get to practice. So I
Yeah.
wasn't working above and beyond my scheduled hours like I used to do.
Mhm.
And I'm sure they noticed that. And so it was never like I was in trouble or whatever. But I think to some degree they realized like whenever I'm bought in completely, and that's only because I used to want to move up. You know, I wanted to be the first, because I think I was the youngest female to ever be a VP with a company.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to be the youngest regional female to ever be with a company. And so there was a lot of things that then I realized, okay, hey, I'm happy where I'm at. You know, I'm able to still be in contact with the customers, the members. And I just stopped wanting to move up because if you move up, you're flying to different states every other week.
Yeah.
And with my training, I couldn't do that. So
Right.
like the drive or the incentive, the carrot of promotion, they couldn't dangle in front of me anymore.
Mhm.
And so I think that they realized that. And, you know, in his mind, I think he thought that I was gonna be like, you're right. Like, you know, this is a career. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
because I had always been that way. And I was like, I'm not quitting, you know, like this
Yeah.
might sound crazy to you, but I'm 1 to 2 fights away from the UFC.
Right. Wow.
And he's like, well, what do you want to be like a UFC fighter, or do you want to be an executive with this company?
Oh my.
And that was his next question. I just
Ah.
remember thinking like, well, can I do both? You know, like why
Yeah,
can't,
why
he's
is
like,
there
well,
an
which one do you
option?
love?
Oh,
Was
there
the
you
next
go.
question. And I was like, I love my job. Like I love fighting, and I've been with this company for 8 years. This is all I've ever done. Like I love the fitness industry.
Yeah.
He's like, well, no, you can't like have two husbands. Like you can't love both.
Yes,
You can't love both. He's like one's gonna take away from the other, and one, you know, so which one is it?
Yeah.
Is he like your dating advisor?
I
Like,
know.
what is
Oh my
Which one?
God.
Which one is it? And so immediately I was like, fighting. It was like a
Yeah.
knee-jerk response. A knee-jerk response, and he kind of looks at me. He's like, well, we don't have to like make the decision right now. You know, he starts kind of backpedaling a little bit.
Yeah.
And but as soon as I said it, it was relief.
Yeah.
It was like I
It's out
felt
there.
very certain of that. As soon as it was out there, I was like, no, I'm standing by this. You know, and I had not planned on walking away from my
When did he
salary.
ask you this?
This was like the beginning of November. Like
Okay.
yeah, towards the beginning
and
of
then
November.
you just walked away.
And so then I was like, well, he's like, well, I mean, what are you thinking? Like, you're gonna finish out the month? I was like, honestly, no, you're right. Like, I'll finish out the week. And so I was gonna finish out the week.
That's a baddie right there. See ya.
Because I was in a different city. I was sleeping in a hotel, so I was gonna
Right.
I was gonna make sure I didn't waste any of the company's money, and I was onboarding some new hires. So I didn't want to leave them in a bad spot and anything like that. But to be honest, I'm very grateful that he kind of made me choose to some. I don't think he
Yes.
intentionally meant it for it to happen like that.
Well, that backfired.
Yeah, and I think he realized that it backfired. And so then that very next day, I get a call. This just goes to show how God works in like the
Yeah.
most incredible, mysterious ways. The very next day, I get a message from one of Macy Barber's coaches. It was like, "Hey, she's got this camp coming up. Is there any chance that you'd be able to come out and help? Like they were going to fly me out, cover food, housing, all that stuff." Right?
Wow.
And so I was just like, wow, I would not have been able to do this if I was still working my job. So I fly out, and so I literally, my last day was on Saturday, hop on a plane on Sunday.
Oh.
And
my
I'm in
gosh.
Colorado for 2 weeks straight. Well, my company ends up reaching out, and they let me basically use my vacation time. So they paid me out my vacation time, and then I just finished out the rest of the month. And so I ended up getting a couple more paychecks, which was really nice. Because again, when I
Nice.
quit, like I had no that was
Right.
not like the intent to quit.
Yeah.
Had no
And
plan.
No plan. So December 1st was like my first official day of like unemployment
Freedom?
or freedom. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I guess full-time fighting, chasing my dreams.
Yes.
you
Chasing
know.
your dreams.
And I just think that there's just been so many things where he showed up to let me know that like, look, like you're making the right decision. You're on the path that I'm calling you to be on. It might be a
Yeah.
little bit scary. You might not
You're
know
where you need to be.
exactly. And he's put the right people in my life. And I think that you two are two of them, right?
Aw.
And everything happens for a reason. So the hardest part for me sometimes is because I am a very much so type A, independent. This is what we're
Yes.
going to do, move forward, whatever. And sometimes I can be a bulldozer.
Yeah.
I know that about myself. But I've been really trying to like sit back and let God open the doors and then make sure that I walk in the room, but it's the rooms that he's putting me in, not the rooms that I'm bulldozing down myself.
Yes.
You
I
I
know?
love
love that. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. And again, I really feel like your message needs to be out there more. If you're a podcaster, ladies, and you guys have your own podcasts, this woman right here needs to be your guest. Seriously. She's doing amazing things. Thank you for sharing with us everything that you've gone through, even that, what happened to you in the beginning, and being vulnerable to be able to share that moment, because the live today is like the girl from 19 years old is championing who you are today. So you're her hero.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Amber, do you have any last words here?
Well, going after that, you made it like such a soft moment, but
Oh my
I wanted to get back to the pretty pays, what we were talking about earlier, because you're a beautiful young lady, and I want to know, do you use your looks for your career? We were talking about this, and just to give you a little background while you're, from where we're coming from, we had an episode where we were talking about this and whether or not we utilize it, and then how we feel if we do. Does it make you feel guilty? Does it, empower you more?
Right.
And how do you use that? And that's why I had brought up your photo that I loved seeing, the Christmas photo, and I thought it was a beautiful photo. And so what do you feel about that?
So honestly, for majority of my life, I never really saw myself as like a beautiful person or an attractive, like, and
Were you like a tomboy?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. Like very much so. A tomboy, running around basketball shorts, climbing trees, running around barefoot, like,
Yes.
on
in
a
the dirt.
farm. I grew up on a farm, like very much so. Like I was very, very tomboy, to the point where it was a fight every Sunday morning for my mom to put me in a dress. Like it would, she eventually just kind of quit, like gave up on that. Cause I was very stubborn and very mean. I did not want to wear that dress. And so I will say, like, for the longest time, it was very hard. I just didn't view myself as that, right? Now, I didn't think that I was ugly, but I also just would never think that, like that
Like
to
that's
me
going to get you in the doors.
right. Or like other people, and my younger sister, she is a model. She's absolutely stunning. And so for me, my identity was always the athlete,
Yes.
like the competitor, the athlete. So that's always what I saw myself as. And it wasn't until, I guess, more recently when there were opportunities to do shoots, and I was kind of curious, like, you want with me? Like, are you sure you want my sister? Like, and so that was never really like my identity. But then I started to realize, like, as I became more confident in who I was as a person, more people started to see me as, and I think that it's like beauty is more, one, how you treat people, but secondly, how you carry yourself.
Yes.
And so the confidence, just in terms of what my body's capable of doing instead of how my body looks and that type of thing, like my value, how I saw myself changed. And I think it wasn't until it was March of 2023. I had just won the amateur title for my division. And we went to the UFC fight the very next day. My teammate was fighting. And I went to this UFC event. Now, if you guys have ever been to conferences, concerts, festivals, any big gathering, when you go to the restrooms, who has the line?
Oh yeah, the women.
The women, right?
Obviously.
Always has the line. So
I've gone to the men's
very
restroom
long line.
before.
yeah, I have. I've used plenty of men's
restroom.
bathrooms.
I'm not waiting in that
yes,
line.
absolutely. There was a exceedingly long line for the men's restroom. I walked right in, and their stall's open. So I looked. Then it made me realize, and I looked around. It was like 80% men in attendance at this UFC fight.
Yeah.
So men watch fights at a higher rate than women. Now, I'm hopeful to bring more women to the sport, right?
Yes.
And so that's one of my goals. But where it stands right now, the viewership is men. So then I started realizing, from a marketing standpoint, the potential that I had. I'm confident in my ability to talk to people and to have like actual cohesive responses. And that's not something that I think a lot of fighters, especially the old school fighters, they were fighters. Whether it was they grew up on the street having a fight or what, like they didn't care
Brawlers.
about. Right. Yeah. And as whether you agree with it or not, I think that most sports at the professional level are 51% business and 49% sport competition.
Right.
So that was when I started to realize, okay, I'm going to need to, if my looks open the door, that's fine, because it used to bother me.
Right.
Like almost like I feel like I didn't earn it. My promotion, oh, well, you must have so-and-so with the boss, and it was it's always been that, right?
Oh God.
And it used to make me feel like I had to prove that I deserved it or whatever. I can't I don't take credit for the way that I look. Like that's a genetic randomness, right?
Yeah.
But if my looks open up the door, I'm not going to fight it anymore.
Right.
But I'm going to prove that I deserve to be in the room once I start fighting or talking or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The things that make me who I am, not just the shell. They're going to prove that she deserves to be in here, regardless of whether I got the opportunity for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I've learned to not let that, because it used to bother me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like almost like, oh, well, did I deserve this or did I not? And now I
It's
don't
almost
feel
like that little
way.
stereotype, that little voice gets in your head trying to, say that to you. And you have to kind of overcome that and
Absolutely.
deal with that. Have you had any, what about negative experiences or positive experiences with other females in this realm that you're in, which is a lot male dominated?
Honestly, I think that most of them, pretty much all the women that I've come in contact with, it's been awesome. I was never in a sorority, but it's kind of like what I can imagine to be like a version, how you have that that bond.
Yes.
You might not have anything else in common with that woman at all, but you both trust each other because you're bleeding together, sweating together, crying together, dying together, and you're succeeding together as well. And I think the beautiful thing about it is I have, been in situations where, and I hate this, but sometimes women, we feel like we have to compete with each other.
Ew.
And a lot
I
of
hate
times
that.
it's usually males have made us feel that way.
Proven
Yes.
it.
Yeah, to some degree.
Pit
to some
each
degree.
other against each
Yes.
other. Yes.
Yes. And I think, there's all this pressure on us women to be
The
all of these
best.
things. Yeah, to look the
Everything
best.
in one package. Yeah.
Right. And to, to be pretty but not be conceited, to be in good shape but to not be too this, and it's
Yeah.
like to be smart but not too spoken, and like all these things, right?
Yes.
But the thing about like MMA is we can both succeed, and your success doesn't have to take away from my success.
Right.
So we don't have to compete against each other. We can both win and shine together in
Yeah.
our own divisions, platforms, whatever. Right? Like the only time that I see another woman as a competition is when they're directly in the cage with me.
Right.
The second that they get out of the cage and I get out of the cage, I'm rooting for them to succeed in future endeavors.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think that was good for me because I've always been competitive, and I think there was back in college when I was reminded, constantly. I think I was very competitive towards other women to the point where it stopped me from having like real relationships with them, because I saw them as like, oh, you're gonna try to steal my boyfriend, and that was sad, but that was kind of where I was at back then.
That was reality.
It was, yeah, it was.
Was there a point or something that happened where you changed, that mindset changed, and you said, I don't want to compete with women anymore. I want to collaborate with them. I want to be in this with them. I want to support them. We can all succeed. Because I see that changed for you over
did.
time.
It changed. I think it was whenever I was working with Rachel, and there were some other girls at the gym, and like they didn't benefit from helping me out, or from after the round. Like if I would have done something, she's like, hey, the reason I was able to do this is because you did that. And she took time to like teach and show me. And it wasn't like, again, she didn't benefit from that in the sense of, it wasn't like she was getting paid to do it.
Right.
Like, and she just genuinely wanted to help me out. And then it was a common theme, like not just with the women, with the guys too. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like here's this girl that's new and she sucks and she's just getting in the way. It was, let's help her get better. And it's kind of the overwhelming like theme is we all want to help each other. When I was a white belt in jiu-jitsu, the upper belts would help, they'd offer to roll with me so that they could help teach me. And so I think there's been a lot of like, I've been helped by a lot of people that have taken the time to, show me some things when maybe they didn't get anything out of it. It wasn't like I was paying them to do so.
Do you
Right.
think it was the culture of that environment of
Yes.
MMA? Oh, yeah.
Yes. There's just certain
Code.
respect. Yeah, code and respect. Like it's all about respect and self-control and discipline. And I think if nothing else, you respect the sport
Yeah.
to the point where you respect the person that's also, if they take it serious, you take it serious as well.
Yeah. And then everybody's going through the same discipline, the same
Hell.
withdrawals
Yeah.
of like
Oh, yeah.
not, having a certain lifestyle too. You guys are all acclimating to the same lifestyle also.
So what's next on the horizon?
Oh, yes, Skyland.
Wait, hey, listen, I've been quiet for a long time.
You have. We'll give you that.
And Amber just asked the question I was gonna ask. So let me quick story. I remember Liv saying if she put together some strings of wins, the UFC looked really promising. However, she got her nose broken and lost that first fight. By the way, that was the saddest sports moment for me in my life because I've never been this close to an athlete. Like we watch them on TV, but I watched her and I knew the first round, I'm like, damn it. And then she was bleeding so much that the judges were like, oh, well, she's really hurt. And then that third round, like I remember that like it was yesterday. And I remember yelling in my car and driving home because it sucked. Like that was the worst. So I can only imagine what her mother felt like. Now,
Your biggest fan over here.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
So
Skyland.
she's on a-
Balls on mother's arms.
Aw.
she's on a 3-fight win streak right now, correct?
Yep.
And then
Yay.
so what's next? What do you have sitting next to you? And
How can we support
when's
you?
And when's your next fight?
So my next fight is going to be February 6th here in San Antonio.
Ooh, okay.
And I brought my fight kit from my last fight. So I fought in purple. And as you can
Ooh.
see, there's different like logos and stuff on here. So if you guys end up wanting to have Baddie Rewrite showcased on,
Hey.
on my next fight kit, I do, because at the
love
regional
that.
level, most of like where the money comes from is sponsorships.
yeah.
Sure.
And this, building your brand is always very, very important. So even if
Yes.
you just buy tickets and go to the fight, or the promotional stuff, all of that's important. But pretty much all of these spots were paid for by different sponsors that one want to advertise their business, but also secondly want to help support and get behind what the future here.
Yes.
So this was from October. My next one's going to be February 6th. And then I recently just competed in jiu-jitsu in the Worlds.
Oh my God.
And so I won. I am the, I think I was middle.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, middle heavyweight world champion. Yeah. So that was, it's funny because when I quit my job, I told my boss, I was like, you might think that this is crazy, but I'm going to be a world champion one day.
Ooh.
And I meant like in MMA, but then like 3 weeks later, I
my
signed up and
gosh.
compete in Worlds. And so this was
awesome.
super cool. And I think this was just another thing like where God was just reassuring me that like, hey, you're on the right path. So yeah. And then I actually brought you guys some little cards. One of my sponsors has made like little like trading cards.
Oh my God.
From like some of my
cool.
fights. So if you guys want, you can pick whichever ones out you want. I think there's a few of them
Absolutely.
over here, but
Hey,
any of
those are
ones that
mine.
you
The
guys
ones over
want.
there are mine. Put
then
hands
what's
off.
your-
Hands
what-
off.
Oh, go ahead.
No, the ones over there on the table are mine.
Oh,
well,
whoops.
well, you can, yeah. I think there's 5 or 6 different
I'm
ones
like,
on the
whoops.
front.
Okay.
And then what are your socials so that we can let the baddies out there know you've got to follow Liv.
Yes.
She's Liv Yum Yum. We haven't even heard why you're called that.
Yum Yum. Okay, so yeah, so my socials, it's Liv with 2 V's, Livv, and then Yum Yum.
Ooh.
So that's where I post pretty much all of my training videos, my upcoming stuff. Every now and then I'll sprinkle in me being girly.
Yes.
Me being girly
Okay,
to show.
I got mine too.
all
I chose
facets.
these
So
two.
y'all follow
There you
Liv.
Can I choose two?
Yeah, you can have whichever ones you guys want.
These are
'cause-
my
So what I do
favorite.
with those is that was my most recent fight too.
Yeah?
So at the
Oh,
end
the
of
purple.
at the end of the fights, when I get out of the cage and the doctor checks me and cuts all the stuff off, when people come up to take pictures or to meet, I always will give them, let them pick a card, and then I have little stickers.
Yeah.
And so the kids love the stickers, and honestly, the adults love the stickers too. So I just want to make sure that like if someone shows up and they're there for me, I want to try to give back and like give them something to like
Yes.
let them know that like it means a lot to me that you come and take any interest in what I have to say or whatever, because you could very easily not,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's gonna be next. And my fight kit's gonna be super cool. I'm doing something different this time,
Yay.
so I'll have to show you guys. You guys can't see yet.
Yes. We're not
It's
showing
gonna-
any.
yes,
We're not
it's gonna
giving
be
the
a little
secrets
sneak
away.
peek. So
Well, all this is very exciting. We're so excited, and we're so happy that you chose us to be on the podcast,
Yes.
and that you're here with us today. And for all the baddies out there to hear your message, what would you leave them? Because again, you know what we're doing here on the show. We're rewriting that playbook for these badass women. So,
Yes.
what would you leave our baddies with today?
Well, I think that we're all baddies in different ways,
Yeah.
and I think that comparison is the thief of joy,
Mm.
right? And so
Yes.
find what it is that makes. I think you just need to find what it is that sets your soul on fire, and then you need to do that.
Yes.
If it's being a mom, do that. If it's being a bodybuilder or an MMA fighter or just a kick butt, professional in your field, whatever it is that like literally sets your soul, like it is not selfish for you to do that and do that wholeheartedly. Because I think that that's when you're your best version of yourself, you can give back to others, and it's constantly, it's sometimes it's the most selfless thing that you can do to be a little bit selfish.
Yeah.
Yes, and you heard it from her. And guess what? She took that risk and she just did it, baddies. So you can do it too.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, again, we're back for the fun segment, right? I think I'm just gonna name this the fun segment. As silly and basic as it sounds, it's gonna be called the fun segment, not like the rest of the
Let your hair
podcast. It's
down.
not fun.
Yes.
Yeah, let your hair. I'll let my hair down. Well, they'll never
down.
see me, so they don't know. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna give myself
They don't
hair.
know what you're dealing with over
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Or what I'm not dealing
Oh,
with.
this crazy hair
Ba-dum-ching.
moment.
All right, so Liv, this is called Fight or Fantasy, right? So is this gonna be, it's just a segment name, right? But I'm gonna ask you a question and you tell me which one. So heels or running shoes? Running shoes?
Running shoes without the running.
Yeah.
Got it. And then Amber and Jacqueline, heels or running shoes?
Heels.
Running shoes.
All right.
Actually, Vans.
Van, got you.
Respect.
Okay, Liv, pepper spray or boxing gloves? You don't want to boxing.
Oh, it's
up
more
close.
personal when you put hands on somebody.
There you
Yeah.
All right, and then ladies, boxing gloves
Oh,
or
boxing
pepper spray?
gloves for sure.
Boxing gloves. But I have been known to carry pepper spray. So.
Got you.
I have a taser, guys, so careful.
I have donated lots of pepper sprays to the airport.
Yes.
All right, apology or left hook?
Ooh, I guess it depends.
Depends, right?
Like, do you want to
Yeah,
punch
I
somebody in the
think-
throat, or do you want to apologize to them?
That's like a
If I'm in the
trick
wrong,
question.
I would say if I'm in the wrong,
Yeah.
then I definitely will apologize because it's hard for me. Like that's where the softerness is. I've started to get softer, but it's hard for me to go to bed if I realize that I've wronged somebody and that I'm in the wrong. However, I have no problem, checking people that deserve to be checked. So if I need to hit them with a check left hook, we will do so.
All right. And the last one, are you going to
Ditto.
walk
Ditto,
away or are you going to square up?
I'm squaring up.
Square up.
Square up.
All right.
Not running. Fight or flight. Fight.
Yeah, fight.
All right. This was another fun segment. Check us again end every show for our fun segments.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Liv. I can't even begin to tell you, I've learned so much from this episode today about taking back your power, and then also even making these decisions even right now in your career. So thank you so much for sharing with everybody. Again, I think conferences are in your future, more podcasts.
That's a bucket list for
Yes.
sure. I've never done that. So
Yes. Well, thank you, baddies, for tuning in. If, again, we already gave you her socials. We're going to have them in the description as well. Please follow Liv, champion her on through her career, and support what she's doing. And definitely hit the like button, hit the comments, and share her Instagram profile as well. Thank you so much.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Show her love too. Yes. Okay, I'm here with the Andy Vasquez. What do you guys think? She did this. Go see her at Angeline DiCarlo in Southtown, right, Andy?
Yes, I'll be there.
She's the best. Y'all go see her. Bye.